Hey everyone, nice to see you. Happy Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday, right? So, I'm going to give you guys just a few minutes to get in because I know that sometimes it takes a little bit, but even if you're not watching this live today, I want you to come back and watch it later today so that you can hear what we're talking about. And I'm going to introduce you to my mother-in-law. And we figured out how to do horizontal video. So this will be much better than it was the other day. So this is Tammy, my mother-in-law, and we'll just go ahead and leave it on her for a second. She's so pretty. There we go. So we've got something we want to talk about today. And if you, like I said, if you can't watch it live, that's okay. Come back and watch it later. But hopefully you can take some time today to watch it and then share it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the tripod. Right. That's right. Give me just a minute, guys. Tripod's weird. All right. Nope, I flipped it back around. You guys don't want to see the... Oh, look at that. That works out really well.
Look like a convict.
I don't want the volume to be muted. Oh, I did that. Shoot. Oh, because it's right on the volume. That's so funny. All right. Thanks for your patience as we figure that out. Don't look like a convict.
I fell.
All right, this is why you guys watch, right? It's not perfect, but we're doing it. All right, that's better. I'm just going to leave it there. Nope, I'm still on the volume. There we go. All right, I think we're good. So I'm going to come on over so that we can both chat.
Thank God, because I don't want to do this by myself.
There we go. Okay.
Get your tissue box out of the way.
So the only thing I'll say is that you have to make sure that you're speaking up because that's a little bit far away. So, all right. So, Tammy. So let me open up. I'll set the background for this because the background alone might be kind of hard to get through. So I'll tell you kind of what happened. So this was 2 years ago now, right? 2 summers ago? Not last summer. The summer before.
Coming up on 2 summers.
Yeah.
Coming up.
So, okay, so we're in 2017. That was
July of 2015.
Yeah, that's right. So in July of 2015, Bob and I were at a wedding, and we got a call from Tammy saying that her mother, who her name is, we call her Grandma Kay, she's actually Kay is who Nyla is named after. So Kay's full name was Nyla Kay Huckel, right?
Yeah.
Right. I always think I get it mixed up.
Nope,
so Nyla Kay Huckel. So that's who Nyla's named after. So anyway, we got a message while we were at this wedding that something was wrong with Grandma Kay. That she had been upstairs in her room trying to get dressed for like 30 minutes. And she had put her bathrobe on and put her bra on top of her bathrobe, which is obviously weird. So anyway. So we were like, well, that sounds strange. And Tammy said she's kind of having trouble putting sentences together and stuff. And I immediately thought she's having a stroke. And so we left the wedding right away. It was kind of close to her house here. So we left right away and we came over. Now the thing is that Grandma Kay at the time, how old was she at the time? 72?
76. She would have been 77 that year.
Fall. Okay, so she mid-late 70s, but really spry. She'd been working really up until that winter, really spry. She's not an older 70-something, okay, really active. So, but she was going to have a hip replacement, and so she had been placed on some blood thinners to make sure, no, not
beta blockers.
Beta blockers, sorry, I knew it had something to do with that. So she'd been placed on some medication in preparation for the surgery, which I think was supposed to happen a week later. A week or two later?
It was supposed to have been done, yes, in late, let's see, it was supposed to have been done in July because she was supposed to have it done in June and then she didn't, she put it off.
Yeah.
So they were going to do it in July and yes, it was going to be done July 14th because that's the day that,
Right. Yeah. So it ended up, what we found out was that the medicine that she'd been put on for the hip surgery, her liver was having problems processing it, which by itself seems sort of innocuous. That doesn't really seem it seems like a problem, but it doesn't seem like what it was. So she ended up, we called the squad. I'm telling this a little out of order, but we called the squad. The squad came. They were like, she's not having a stroke. She's not having any heart issue. Like it seems like something much less serious, but you need to go ahead and take her to the hospital. So we did. We took her to the hospital down here, and they started running tests and stuff. And that's kind of along the way they found out her liver's not processing this medicine that she's on for the hip surgery, which seemed bad, but it was like, well, maybe the hip surgery will just get put off. Well, like as they continued investigating that, they found out that she actually had liver cancer, and it was really, really far advanced. And what we found out even, really shortly after that was that it wasn't like spontaneous liver cancer. It was her breast cancer from how many years before?
24 years ago.
From 24 years ago that had metastasized to her liver. But there were a few signs on it looking back that maybe we could have known something was wrong with her liver, but she's old. Like old people get liver spots, like that's just a thing that happens. So anyway, from the time that she was diagnosed with that liver cancer, she passed away like 10 weeks later. It was super fast. Like it happened super, super fast. She went from being old but fine to old and dying really quickly. And so I wanted Tammy to share a little bit about this, because the problem is that we hear a lot about breast cancer, and we primarily hear about breast cancer awareness through the Komen Foundation. And listen, the two of us are going to have different feelings on this, because I know the Komen Foundation does good work. They do a work, and it's good. But it's probably not the most important work that could be done at this time. Because most people don't know that it's not this early stage breast cancer that the Komen Foundation talks about that kills you. That's not it. I mean, let's just be honest. You get breast cancer here, you can lump it off, you can chop it off and get some chemo, and the doctor's going to tell you that your cancer's cured. Or liars. If you have a good doctor, they won't say cured.
Liars.
She said liars. So I know that my mom had breast cancer three times. So the first time she had a lumpectomy, which is where they go and they just cut out literally like the lump. And she had some lymph nodes taken out too. And then the second time she had, I think she got some more taken out and radiation. And the third time then they just cut it off and did chemotherapy too. And I remember at the time, and we had great doctors down at MD Anderson in Houston, really one of the better cancer hospitals in the country. And I remember they told her at the time, you only have a 17% chance of this cancer coming back, which at the time I thought, wow, that's really great. But even looking back on it, I realized what they meant to say but didn't was that 17% chance, if it comes back, it's not coming back in your boobs. It's going to come back in your bone, in your brain, in your lungs, or in your liver. And when that happens, it's not curable. Like we're not going to be able to fix that 17%. And it's not 17%. What is it, Tammy?
30%. 30% of early stagers who are diagnosed with cancer to the breast will, not may, not can, will develop metastatic breast cancer. You never hear that from Komen. Komen's not going to tell you that. There's no money in telling you that. So 30%, 40,000 women and men get it too.
I just talked to someone yesterday who told me that her husband died last year, or her sister's husband died last year of breast cancer.
40,000 people a year die from metastatic breast cancer.
But the money, like when you see all the pink stuff around town, now here's the thing. Again, this is where we differ a little bit, but I'm not saying that Komen's the devil, okay? I'm not saying that. I am saying this. Komen's money goes to spread awareness of early stage breast cancer. And that's not, now listen to what I said. It goes to spread awareness of early stage breast cancer, not research for curing the later stage breast cancers that have spread elsewhere, which is what actually kills someone. And that person's death certificate, right? So not death certificate, but medically, what caused Grandma Kay's death?
I insisted, and most people don't because they don't know. Because then you're not counted. If it doesn't say metastatic breast cancer, then you're not counted in the number. So the 40,000 could be more. I don't know that for sure, but I would assume because they put liver cancer, they put bone cancer, they put brain cancer, they put lung cancer. They don't put metastatic breast cancer, which I insisted that in order for my mom's death to count, to matter for something, for some reason, that it say metastatic breast cancer.
And I think so here's what I'm saying. If you're out and about and you see a pink cupcake at Panera, or, you know, not a cupcake, they do the cookies, you know, the little ice cookies, or you have the choice to like join a marathon or something like along those lines, I want to encourage you not to give it to Komen, not to give it to the pink, because that's not really, it's not funneling money to research about how to cure the breast cancer that kills. It's going to spread awareness of the early stage stuff, which, ladies, let's just be honest, like, we know about it already. Like, we know, you know, well, even more, like the last time I went to my doctor, she said self-exams really don't matter much. Don't tell my mom that, because she will flip out. I know. Tammy's had breast cancer too.
That's how I found mine.
And my mom too. And yet there's my doctor telling me, you know, self-exams really don't catch very much cancer. And I'm like, well, that's just not my experience, honestly. So, but yeah, the early stage breast cancer, we know about it. Like, and here's what I mean when I say I don't think Komen's the devil. I feel like they've done a good job of spreading the news of, you know, of spreading that awareness of the early stage stuff, and the fact that women, you need to get mammograms on a regular basis. You need to do self checks. You know, here's what your boobs might look like if you have some sort of cancer going on, and you might not even know that was cancer. They've done a good job of that. But I promise you, you've never heard from Komen that cancer, the way that it kills someone, the way you actually die from it, is that it spreads to other organs. And that cancer, there's no cure for it. You're not going to take chemotherapy and cure that bone cancer, brain cancer, lung cancer, whatever. Because that metastatic breast cancer, there's no cure for it. No. So when you hear them talk, when you hear the pink organizations, Komen and others, you know, when you hear them talk about how there's no cure for breast cancer, the money that you're giving them does not go to research the late stage breast cancers. It doesn't go to try to find a cure for that. So there's this mismatch between what they're saying, which is there's no cure for breast cancer, we need to raise money for it, and where their money is going. It's going towards the early stage, yet we need money to go towards the latter stages. And there is an organization that helps raise money for research for the latter stage breast cancers, the ones that actually kill. And they're called Metavivor. So META, so like metastatic, Metavivor, VIVOR.org. And that's the organization that's funneling money to late stage breast cancer research. So I want you, if you are going to give money to anything related to breast cancer, I want you to give to Metavivor. Because Komen's money, 2% of that money goes. Now, is it 2% to late stage or 2% to research period? 2%
of the, I believe now, I believe that 20% of their funding goes towards research, yet 2% of those research dollars go to metastatic breast cancer research. Yet you've got 30% of women being diagnosed. So why not? Everybody's aware of breast cancer. Have they done a good job with that? Absolutely. 30 years worth of awareness. I dare you to find somebody under 5 years old who doesn't know what that
yeah, for sure. Like my daughter's school has like a day for breast cancer awareness. I'm like, God, you're already 9 years old. I mean,
so why not now, Komen? Because that's what her sister died of, metastatic breast cancer.
Yeah,
that's why she started the organization. So now, why not take the monies and increase it to 30% for metastatic breast cancer research. We're all aware. We all know. I could throw up pink. I couldn't be any more aware, and most people couldn't be any more aware. And your corporate dollars, the minuscule amounts that are being funneled to Komen, especially for research, it's not worth your time and effort. Don't buy a pink spatula. Don't buy pink shoes. Don't buy pink coffee makers and mixers and these kinds of. It's nonsense.
At this point, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So demand more of them. You probably spend more time investigating what kind of groceries you're going to buy, or whether your vegetables are organic or non-organic. Why not take the time to research Komen? Research it yourself, and you still want to donate, then donate. But no more of my dollars. No.
Well, and like I said, the organization that does funnel money to
100%.
late stage is Metaviver.org. Metaviver.org. And it's the same sort of grassroots people organizing fundraisers in their local neighborhoods and things like that Komen, the way they started, it's the same thing, except that their focus is on what's going to actually kill you. And, the thing is this, like my mother had breast cancer. She's had breast cancer. Her mother had breast cancer. My great-grandmother died of breast cancer. So it's not, we all know someone who has breast cancer. That's part of, how much more aware of the fact that this is a problem can we be without knowing that the way you die from it is not from the cancer here, it's from the cancer everywhere else. Like my mom and I, we went to a doctor's appointment. It's probably been 2.5 years now. We went to a doctor's appointment 2.5 years ago because she was having problems like breathing and stuff and are catching her breath. So we got referred to a, would that be pulmonary? Is that the lung doctor, right? So a pulmonary specialist. We get there, they do all the scans and stuff. They're like, well, you have a spot on your lungs. We're like, great, she's gonna die. Like, I mean, and it wasn't. It ended up being probably like a calcification or something like that. It's grown just a little bit, so maybe it's cancer. We don't really know yet. But if it grows, if she ends up with cancer in her lungs at some point, it very likely will be breast cancer that has metastasized to her lungs. And it won't be curable. There won't be anything to do. And we throw our dollars to Komen, and it's not what's needed. It's not what's needed. So I have only two things that I want you to do. Number one, if you are going to donate to something about breast cancer, give it to Metaviver instead, because they're the ones that are giving the money to researchers about how to actually cure breast cancer that kills. That's number one. Number two, if you have someone in your family who has died of breast cancer, and in that way it's gone to their brain, their lungs, their bones, their liver,
or all of those.
Or all of those, honestly, because a lot of times once it gets multiple to one, it goes quickly to the others. Tell their story. Let people know how they actually died. Like, don't just say, it is important for you to say my mother or whoever died of breast cancer, but make it clear that they didn't die because there was a cancer in their boobs. They died because that cancer here went somewhere else. That's what's important to know. And I think most people don't know don't know that. They don't know that that's how you die of breast cancer, is when it starts here and it goes somewhere else. So I want you to do those two things. Number one, give to Metaviver and not Komen if you're going to give. Go to a Metaviver event, organize a Metaviver event rather than going to the Komen events. And number two, if you have someone in your family or a close friend or something like that, tell that story, because that's the story, that's the awareness now that is needed. That's the awareness now. Also, so that the thing is this too, like there's no check for that. Like if you have breast cancer, and we all know this from experience. If you have breast cancer, and this is what you're told. You follow up with your doctor every year. Once you're like 5 years clean, you're good. Like you don't have cancer anymore. And you need to still get your mammograms once a year, once every 2 years, whatever it is. But you're good. Go live your life. When in reality, like with Grandma Kay, that cancer could just be sitting there killing her. And doctors aren't looking for it. They're not aggressively checking all of these other areas as the years go on, because you had breast cancer and your breasts are clean, so
Right.
you're good to go.
And as my oncologist told me, there aren't any tests for metastatic breast cancer.
No.
So basically, you have to wait. Yeah. Wait until it sneaks up on you.
Wait to see if you're like one of those 30% that gets lucky, right?
So you don't really have any idea. And she did everything, and I want to make that perfectly clear. She had her mastectomy, she had lymph nodes removed, she followed up with her doctor religiously, had all of her mammograms, her bone scans, everything that they asked her to do for 24 years. And then there she was, stage 4 with metastatic breast cancer engulfing her liver. There was absolutely really nothing. They tried chemo, but she had an allergic reaction, and if you knew my mother, you're not surprised by that. But, 10 weeks from diagnosis to...
So, and I did, Tammy, I have to mention this because I forgot earlier. My Aunt Kathy also, breast cancer, 20 years ago, and this year now it's back in her breast, which is great that it's in her breast and not somewhere else. But again, you think it's done, you think it's over when the doctor says you're good and you're clear, and it's not. It's something that it doesn't go away, I guess is what I'm saying, is that it doesn't go away just because you take care of it once and you think it's done with, and it's not. And we need more research dollars to go to figuring out how that happens, why it happens, and how to stop it from happening. So that's all I have for you today. Tammy, very nice. Good job. What else?
No, just quickly. I know that you may be thinking, because my mom had it, I had it, Angie's mom has had it, her grandmother, her aunt. I can't speak for Angie's side of the family, but my mom was first generation. There is not a genetic link. I don't carry the gene. She was never genetically tested. So it's not a genetics thing. It's a woman, it's an estrogen thing, basically, at least for me. It was because of estrogen, and mom's was because of estrogen. So don't think that it has to be a genetic link. And all I ask you is research where your money's going. If you want to give to Komen, as I said, give to Komen, but research what they are doing with your money. Go to metafiber.org. Look at where their money is going. They'll happily give you all of their financials. There are ladies on Facebook that I have followed. Unfortunately, about three or four of them have died in the past 16 months. One, Kelly Parker, thank God for her, because she's given me a lot of information and inspiration. But again, you follow these people and you know that one day they're there and the next day they're not going to be. And they're not old ladies either. These are young women with young children, and it can hit anyone. So just research. That's all I'm asking. Research. Make yourself aware of metastatic breast cancer. That's what I ask.
That's all. If you guys have questions for me or Tammy, she's on Facebook too. I'll tag her. She's Tammy Sexton here on Facebook, and you can ask her questions. She can share some links to some more information if you want. And that's it. And again, so donate to Metaviver and to share your own story.
Please.
So that people know what's going on and begin to shift their focus more that way. So that's all. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you later. Bye. We're really going this time. Bye.